Sup, y'all? I am your host, Tayler Onion, and this is Hang Time, where we focus on amplifying the stories of women in sports. This episode is another part 2 of our 3-part series with BSN SPORTS Surge program, and we are back this week with Tisha Hill, who serves as a national account manager for Surge. Tisha, welcome. Let's get some hang time.
Thanks, Tayler. Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Absolutely. I'm excited to get to talk to you today. So we had Aaron Hart on last week's episode. You are here with us today. So we're continuing on this 3-part series, as I mentioned. I want to start off really with your student athlete experience. And while it pains me as a University of Illinois graduate to say that you were a student athlete at Indiana University, a Hoosier, right. the other I in the Big Ten. Well, I guess we have Iowa as well, one of the 3 in the Big Ten there. But you set school records. You've got career assists and steals during your time in Bloomington that I saw, and continue to rank among the all-time leaders in both of those categories for Indiana. What was your experience like as a student athlete there?
Wow. Well, I would love to say, I don't know how far reach this might get all across the country. So I'm going to say I no longer hold those records. They have been broken. I'm on the leaderboard, but I'm not top of it. As a student athlete, it was such a growing period for me to be a student athlete at IU. Competing at such a high level, being around a group of sisters. We have a huge sisterhood now to this day of athletes, not just basketball, but all of our sports. So for me, it was just a tremendous growing period of time for me to go there at 18 from Cleveland, Ohio into Bloomington, Indiana. It was a shell shock, but I had a great group of teammates around me that really smoothed out my transition. So made a lot of wonderful, wonderful relationships that I hold on dear to this day. And I think that's what, just being a student athlete, not just the athletic side of it, building that team bond with my sisters out on that court was just a tremendous experience for me.
The relationships, I think, is something we're losing sight a little bit of that in the recruiting process now, at least from the outside conversations that are happening about college athletics. And I think it's the most, I talk about this all the time, right? Like I had a very similar experience at Illinois. My teammates are still my best friends. The group chats are still going crazy. I mean, just this morning, somebody sent in messages and, we've got, all of a sudden I wake up, I've got 67 unread text messages from college teammates. And so that stuff is so, all good. Yeah. All good things. But those relationships are just such a huge advantage and benefit of being a student athlete. Sometimes maybe when you don't have them, even if you do, your student athlete career, you're just ready for it to get over and move on to the next thing. For you kind of stuck in the sports realm. So was there a point during your experience when you knew you wanted to get into coaching, or did you kind of fall into that after you finished your playing career?
Wow, no, it did not happen overnight. It was definitely a gradual process through playing sports and being on the court and traveling to different locations and gyms and just seeing the process happen. The older I got, the more I got in tune to the why we were doing what we were doing. It wasn't just, hey, get on the line because you messed something up, or I really dove into, why are we doing this? Why is this play being so much more effective than other plays? It started to resonate with me. And, towards my junior year, becoming a captain for our group and really bringing on those underclassmen and coaching them through the drills and those types of things, it just started to really feel natural, be natural, and something that I just didn't want to let go of once my playing career was over.
It's fun to kind of put the hat on and be on the other side of that and get into some of the technical aspects.
Tell other, players to get on the line.
There you go. Yeah, when you don't
be in charge of that.
When you don't have to do the conditioning, that does make a difference.
Yeah.
So you've coached at multiple levels. What are some of the biggest, differences between you've been at the youth level, you've been at the college level? I assume some high school experience in there, maybe some AAU stuff in between, but what are some of the biggest differences you've seen from coaching at the youth level to the
Mhm.
collegiate level?
Well, I would say definitely that part that I touched on, just the why. For the youth, it's more of that development period. Why are you playing the game? Because you love it. You love being part of a team, that atmosphere, that extracurricular kind of after school. I'm coaching my 8th grade middle school now, going on my 7th year with them. So you just see that different perspective of the joy that they come into the gym with, and just wide eyed wanting to learn. And then as you start to develop and grow your athletes, and they, really get the experience, that competitiveness starts to kick in, wanting to be that elite athlete, that training period, wanting to be stronger, bigger, faster, stronger than others. That starts to really, elevate the game. The girl, and it's starting even, sooner than it used to, for sure, with our girls. So I think that's the biggest part I see, is that, that why early changes to a different, and it just, the evolution of it continues to happen as they get older. And now, the why is sky's the limit. Why? Well, I want to play pro. I want to go on and be that elite athlete. So I think those things are the biggest standout differences for me that I see with our youth, and then into our college kids right now.
With the college level specifically, we've seen so much change in the last 6 years between COVID and, adding on these COVID waiver years and the transfer portal and NIL and all of these things. Have you seen kind of that same, I guess, just changes in general outside of the why and why do I wanna be here and kind of
Mhm.
pursuit to the next level? What differences have you seen in young girls right now, in youth athletes that are happening maybe because of some of these external factors that we've seen affect the game at higher levels?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the biggest, probably everyone would say, most people would say, that biggest external, impact on our girls right now is absolutely social media. I mean, wanting to, the self comparison to you and someone else in your position as an athlete, is really pushing our girls early. They're doing a lot of comparisons. They're making sure, hey, I'm keeping up, or I'm doing better uh, than the girl next to me. That competitiveness is huge right now. So that social piece, is really a big part. And then, of course, just, I didn't have that. My friends and I, we kid about it. We're like, oh my gosh, number one, if people could track us on our phone, no.
Right.
number Number two, if we had to, if they could post about anything that, is going on the court or off the court or anything like that, that it would have been a mess. So to balance all of that for for our athletes right now is just like, they take on a whole different realm of responsibilities and accountability, representing their universities, their schools. It's a lot. So hats off to how they're balancing this, and having the guidance, great guidance out there to keep them in check.
It's everywhere right now, social media. I think back to when, I don't know, I'm gonna date myself here by saying this, but when I was a kid, it was magazines, right? It was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, magazines aren't real life," the
Mhm.
models who are there, you don't need to compare yourself to that. Like, that was the conversation that was
Right.
happening. And now it's not like you have to go and buy a magazine to see that kind of stuff, or somebody showing off the best
It's a
aspects of their
click.
life. Yes, yeah,
Mhm.
it's everywhere all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And so it's not a surprise to hear that that would be one of the biggest pieces in terms of
Mhm.
confidence, in terms of keeping girls in the game, and even just that self comparison of, oh gosh, she's hitting more shots than I am, or she's
Right.
got these many recruits, or these many all these NIL deals, whatever it is. It's It's definitely something that I think we need to talk about more, and it's part of the reason why I love the focus on confidence and keeping girls in sports that y'all are doing with Surge. So
Absolutely.
you joined the BSN team back in 2016, if my
Yes.
research is correct here,
Yes.
and initially on the sales side. What prompted you at that time to get out of coaching?
Well, I think there was a part that I wanted to continue um, my reach, as far as what I can bring to the game, what I can bring to female athletes with all sports, and how far I can extend my reach. And now, with my counterpart, Emmy Walton, she handles the West Coast for Surge, and I handle the East region. Being able to connect and continue to connect with coaches and athletes across the country and bring them this platform of free online curriculum for them to use and uplift our girls. I mean, it was really a no brainer once I knew, hey, the continued location, and switching up locations when you're moving to different programs and coaching. Um, the stability, the life balance, you name it, Taylor. I mean, we could go on and on of the
Right.
whys of moving away from that part. But like I said, had to scratch the itch. So dove right back in and coaching my middle school. And, it's coaching brings that, number one, keeps you young, keeps the girls around you, and it keeps you really feeling like you are giving back to what gave so much to you. And that's what's been a tremendous reward for me. So, I continue to do that. But I think with this position now in Surge and BSN Sports, how we can touch so many people across the country with what we can bring to our coaches, our administrators, and for me, especially our athletes.
We talked about that impact and how large it has gotten a little bit last week with Aaron. I want to reread
Yeah.
the stat line, and then for anybody who hasn't listened to that episode yet, first of all, go listen to it. Second of all, if you haven't listened to it, I want to have your kind of description of the Surge program and what exactly it's doing as well. But so
Mhm.
the program launched. It's barely 2 years old, back in March of
Right.
2024. Since then, it has been adopted by over 9,500 athletic programs in all 50 states and Washington, D.C., and it supports more than 605,000 female athletes. That is a massive, 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 massive reach. Can I say
Yeah.
it massive one more time? It's huge. It's
Yeah. I
just
know. I
the
know.
impact that y'all are having there is remarkable.
Yeah. The momentum has been phenomenal since 2024. Actually, got a quick update for you. We hit
Great.
10K members this week. We're
Amazing.
now with that, it brings in more student athletes. So we're up to 670,000 athletes touched across the country. It's unbelievable, but yet believable. Knowing that this content is free, number one, that our coaches can go online, um, browse through the content, pick out what they feel like will resonate with their team, use that in really uplifting our girls and giving them a voice and confidence to stay a part of the team. It just continues to just enlighten every single program that it touches, and the feedback that we continue to get, we just keep building more content. Aaron's our guru. He did all of our curriculum. We've got a great team. Um, and we just continue to build on it and really enjoy bringing it to our coaches and our schools and clubs across the country now.
Those I wanna emphasize this, so that the stat line that I just shared, I got that from your team within the last 2 or 3 weeks, and so
I know.
just the pace at
We're
which
going.
this is growing and impacting, it truly is
Yeah.
remarkable.
Yeah.
You've been able to be a part of this team with Surge from the beginning since its launch. What has excited you the most about being a part of that?
The reach. I mean, continuing to go speak at clinics, talk to our youth, talk to our girls, talk to our coaches about our girls, just that continued conversation of why sports are so important for our girls to stay a part of and how we can assist in any way in doing that. That's been just the tremendous reward for me. to continue to brainstorm with our team and think of, okay, what's our new angle this year, and hear back from our coaches and our administrators. Hey, we really need a little bit more on, parents with our youth, and building out that curriculum. So more to come is always fun to hear in our roundtables and talking about Surge. So I just love it. I love being around our girls and bringing this content to them every chance I get.
You mentioned clinics, so I wanna highlight this too because the curriculum that's online and how you're able to have this massive reach is because everything is free and online, but you're also going out into the community and running these clinics, and not just you, but the rest of the team too, right? I've seen on socials that you've
Right.
had Donald Driver out as a part of
Oh
this, of
my gosh.
course, and Allison Schmidt, who, spoiler alert, will be our part 3, our wrap up of this three-part series next week.
Phew! Glad I didn't
It
have to follow her.
and then, Nancy Lieberman, of course, involved
Oh boy.
as well,
Yeah.
and so you've got just a rock star team, but can you share a little bit about what the in-person those clinics that you're talking about, what does that look like? What's the design of that? What kind of impact do you have in the in-person stuff?
Yeah, well, we have a group of on Aaron's side, the varsity brand side, Aaron's trainers go out. We kind of hit it regionally and try to make sure that our trainers get to these clinics and organizations that request and really sometimes win a contest and win a free clinic from us. But all of those things happen throughout the year for us. The clinics we really involve a lot of our Surge Together portion of our curriculum, which is a lot of team building, getting our girls together, rotating different activities throughout the clinic, really building that bond with the group that we're working with, and going while reemphasizing that acronym of Surge with our strength, unity, resilience, growth, and empowerment. We bring it all together while we're doing these activities with the girls and just have fun with it. So again, it's another release from, hey, we're going to go to this softball clinic and do a lot of batting and pitching and fielding. And now we're going to go to this surge clinic and we're going to really dive into some powerful vocabulary and words that help empower our girls.
There's so many sports that are available. I was just looking back through the curriculum and the catalog of what's online. So you just mentioned softball. I think we talked about basketball last week with
Hmm.
Aaron. Allison, of course, has a swimming background, and
Hmm.
so there's so much on there. Every time I look, I feel like there's a new sport. How do you, as y'all are building that, or even as you're facilitating it in person, are there major differences between what you're sharing from sport to sport, or do you feel like there's a lot of crossover there?
I certainly feel like there's some good crossover. We have built out our curriculum to be sports specific. We continue to build it out. So we'll do sports specific drills that give those athletes within that sport a lot of crossover between their sport and what we're trying to build in them through Surge, using the vocabulary words and using those power words and drills. So um, each sport we really found that our coaches are like, "Hey, I'm a lacrosse coach. Do you have some lacrosse curriculum?" "Yep, we do." And here are some drills that reemphasize what we mean to empower your girls, and we run them through those drills. So yeah, great crossover, but yet it gets sport specific with the drill part within the curriculum, so that our girls can really dive in with their sport and get something out of it.
When it comes to basketball, obviously your area of expertise there, you've obviously spent time. We talked about your time as a student athlete. We talked about your time as a coach. How do you feel like your background in that space and having those experiences influences how you show up in this role now, both on the BSN sports side of things and then also from
Mhm.
a surge standpoint?
I think my biggest thing is my connection. Like, been there, I've been right where you are, as a player, as a coach. Um, just having those conversations with the coaches on, how to implement Surge within their team. Um, I know Aaron had touched on with you as well that we didn't want to add another piece that will, really drag out or put more time into preparing for practices. I use Surge. This is my second year using Surge with my girls. And we went 39-0 this year. But
Okay.
I'd like to say
You gotta say
that
that loud, don't
I
cover
know,
that.
I know, I know. Well, it was actually 20-0 this year, but it's 8th grade, so last year they were 19-0, so I said, "Hey, girls, congrats, 20-0 this season, good job," and they corrected me, and they're like, "Coach, we're 39-0." I'm
Right,
like,
don't
"Yeah,
get it
true.
twisted.
Yeah, not at all, they'll call me out in a heartbeat." So, being able to bring that content within "Hey, huddle up at the," middle of the circle within 5, 10 minutes, we run through Surge, and then we close out 5, 10 minutes at the end of practice. Those things were truly important to be able to do. So I feel like, my bringing in kind of the where I've been and kind of how I think the game and don't want added time added to that, um, and difficulty. I think that resonates with coaches now, and, you can sit there and have a conversation and talk to them about, "Oh, yeah, gee, that parent that day, wow, let me tell you," and we can talk about those things and the issues that they're having and really, dive into some of this content, what we feel like would really bring out, some great solutions for them.
This feels like such a good sometimes we know that, curriculum and academia and research are fantastic. They're needed things, but when it comes to sports specifically, there's always been kind of a gap between theory and practice, even though we know that the things that are coming from the research and those experiences can feed in just like this. So again, Surge feels like the kind of perfect marriage of those two things where it is you've got people who are still actively coaching or still actively in that space, but are also able to kind of contribute and share some of the higher level stuff or the team building stuff that
Right.
comes from the research that we know is an advantage in terms of building confidence and helping to keep girls in sports. So I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it really it's a smooth transition, I feel like, having been a coach, continuing to be a coach and mentor these girls and talk them through, the whys, why we're doing this drill, how this will help build confidence and kind of intertwine what we think about while we're going through our Surge curriculum with them. And still kind of bring it home to, yeah, it's still a part of sports, and this is what it's going to help you accomplish, moving forward. So those lessons have been huge. I know for my girls to become those mentors for the elementary school, we're paying it. We continue to just pay it forward each time, and it's just been so exciting to keep building out this curriculum.
If we're looking, so many years into the future, all continues to go to plan with Surge, more girls are staying in sports. What changes because of that?
Oh my gosh, Taylor, everything changes. Our girls continue to become more confident. They become more confident leaders in every space that they will, every room that they walk into, every seat at the table that they demand to be heard. Everything changes. So, that just continues to give us the fuel to bring them more, useful tools, bring our coaches, our mentors, anyone that wants to pull it out and use it to help bring that content to their teams and to these athletes. We're all for it, and hence why we made it free online content.
Yes.
So yeah, my response in a nutshell would be everything changes because our girls just become more confident and in the space that they're holding.
Amazing. All right, heading into the namesake of the show here, the final kind of question before we wrap up. If you could
Ooh.
get some hang time with any woman in sports, who would it be and why?
Okay. Well, yes, Aaron stole my thunder because, of course, I'm a basketball junkie. I love Pat Head Summit. Um, Coach Summit was everything, continues to be everything for the sport. Not just basketball, but going in and doing all of her speaking and going into, major, major, major corporations and talking to them, even, Navy SEALs and talking to them and doing what Coach Summit did. So she was at definitely at the top of my list. But uh, then I started thinking back of when I was a kid, and I was like, oh my gosh, who did I really like? Just my eyes got big every time I saw her. And shout out to GMA. Robin Roberts has
Mm.
always been someone I wanted to do some hang time with. She brought women's sports to the forefront through all of the Final Fours that she did, and broadcasting. She can reach globally a lot of avenues, just, not just basketball. Yes, she has that passion. She'll bring them on every single time, but she continued through gymnastics, through every sport, anything that was going on. She would bring the light to women's sports. So, yeah, and then, to see someone who looked like me up there in that position, I was just like, yeah, this is feasible. We can do this. And it just gave more momentum to what I wanted to accomplish in my.
Robin Roberts is such a good example of the importance of keeping girls in sports and
Oh my
and
gosh.
investing in women's sports. I don't even think it's been within the last 4 or 5 years that I even had any awareness that she came from sports broadcasting to
Mm,
this now anchor position, or that she played basketball and all of these things, and so I think
yeah.
it's, again, just the kind of reiteration and repeating these stories is so important because of just what you said, the representation and being able to see, "Oh, she started off in broadcasting and became
Right.
a daily
ESPN.
news anchor?" Like, go for it.
Exactly.
Can
Yeah.
do any of it.
It was crazy. And it, again, to see it then and to see it now and see how many um, female sports reporters there are out there on every football sideline, every NBA sideline, every sideline now. It just it's hats off to those type of legends that have, really broke it wide open for us to be able to be in that space.
I could sit here and talk to you not just about Robin Roberts, but about all the things all day. So I'm gonna go into the
I
closeout
love
here
it.
so we can wrap
Yeah.
it up. But thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you too for having me. And, always a Hoosier, always a Big Ten, uh, a Big Ten girl. So we have that in common for sure.
That's right. That's right. Well, you can. I failed to ask. We talked about it last week with Aaron. The last thing is, if folks want to know more about Surge, would you just replug the website or socials
Sure.
or anything here for them as well?
Yeah, bsnsports.com/surge. That's where you can get online and really, join us, be a member, and then you'll get free access to the content once you sign up for Surge. And then BSN Sports _Surge is our IG. So definitely get on, follow us, see everything that's going on. You mentioned Donald Driver. I had the pleasure of being out at the Women's Final Four in Phoenix, and I walked Nancy Lieber and all around the place, and she's a rock star and did what she did for and continues to do for us with Surge. Um, but I would hugely be remiss and probably sought after if I didn't thank our team, Emmy Walton, Maria Carlini, Nicolette. They all do. Susan Riley, everyone. We have just a whole bunch of people that does does a tremendous job for us and really keeps this program afloat. And BSN Sports, our leadership at the top continues to plug into our girls and comes to us with, "Hey, what's next? What do you guys need?" And we just keep checking the box and moving forward. So it's a fun ride. So I want everybody to join the ride with me.
Yeah, there you go. The proof is in the pudding. I mean, the way
Right.
that y'all are showing up at these spaces and cheering each other on and just
I
talking about
love
the
it.
great work you're doing, it's definitely there. So thank you again for taking the time today to get some hang time. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Taylor.
You bet. All right, listeners, we will see you back next week, actually. We're on a week to week for this 3-part series. So we'll be back next week with part 3 of our series with BSN Sports and the Surge program. And until then, you can follow along at HangTimeP0D on socials. Check us out on YouTube. And if you don't want to do any of that, you should go to HangTimeP0D.com. Check us out there. We'll see you next time.